Off the Grid is a series. Well, more specifically, it's a Stikbot series that has basically ended 3 times at this point. But with all those endings comes a lot of lore. And a whole lot of deaths. I mean, like, technically it is like a war kind of like show. So it makes sense that there's been a lot of deaths, like, over the course of the show. But today, I'm going to be specifically talking about the character Clint, and how he's still alive. Clint was first introduced in Season 2 of Off the Grid, which I basically consider like a lore dumping season. I mean, like, a lot of it was basically just spent on the Great Stikbot War, which was never fully truly potentialized, because that prequel movie came out, but it was really interesting to see either way. And he was kind of introduced as like, the annoying character that thinks they're better than everyone else. Yeah, and then anyways, he joins up with Stryker and stuff, and then Stryker and, the others like Shift, they supposedly die, not really. And then that kind of like leads into Season 4, where at the end of Season 4, he sacrifices his life so that Pixel can escape, and he dies. But did he really die? Well, that's going to be disgusting. Okay, so, first of all, how did he die? Well, he exploded, except did we actually see his body? Because we didn't, because we know in Off the Grid, there's a lot of times where you see Stikbot bodies, and yeah, that looks pretty dead. But we never saw that for Clint. We just assumed that because of the massive explosion that apparently also killed everyone else. But as soon as the explosion happened, Pixel went into the garbage chute. And throughout the rest of the series, including Off the Grid Nightmares, we never went back to that specific place. So, could Clint actually still be alive? And also, you know how many times there have been fake deaths on Off the Grid? So many times. Raptus, Shift again, Stryker again, Cecilia, oh my good, like, there's been so many times where we find characters have died when they've actually just survived. But you might be saying to yourself, well, technically, isn't the show basically over because, Off the Grid Nightmares ended? And to that, I say yes, but also no. Now, it's kind of been said that Off the Grid Nightmares is over, but does the story of Off the Grid finish? Because we know by the ending of Off the Grid Nightmares Season 2 that Pixel and Stryker end up in Zintanica. So I think there's more in store, but I also think that in the original storyline for Off the Grid Nightmares Season 2, Clint was going to be revealed to still be alive. Yeah. And how do I know this? Well, let's look at the original cut of the series. Now, okay, look, I don't have, like, the entire original storyboard of Off the Grid Season 2. That would actually be really cool. Stikbot Central, if you're watching this, please just release all your behind-the-scenes stuff. I would love to go through it all. It's really interesting. But we do have the first episode storyboard, and if you look in the original footage, in the original flashback footage they were supposed to show, yeah, they show Clint in the flashback footage. But in the actual episode flashback footage, it's basically just a bunch of nightmare stuff. But why in the original one did they show Clint? Well, I think that's because they were actually going to bring Clint back. Because why would they think about showing that if it had no significance? Like in the original cut. Like in the final cut, they didn't show Clint, which makes sense because he never showed up. Now, this is kind of far-fetched because we were shown this storyboard in April, and the series came out in October, so that's like kind of a big thing to change. But I'm also thinking maybe that storyboard that they showed us was one that they did like a year before. Now that we know that Clint could have been brought back, how would he have been brought back? Now, my theory is he somehow survived and he just showed up in the Nightmare Realm. But I think that's kind of lame. We know there's been lots of times of characters being reenacted or brought back to life or whatever. Most famous example is Raptus. Look, he was brought back to life to fight in the war, but failed miserably. So I think Clint might have been brought back to life as like a monster form, kind of like how Stryker looked near the end of season 2. And I think that would have been really cool. But I also think that Clint survived the explosion, but was captured by the monsters of the Nightmare Realm, because we don't know much about this Nightmare Realm still. Despite the fact we spent an entire series on it, multiple seasons on it, we still don't fully know how this realm works. Like, did the monsters, like, kidnap him? Like, I mean, he's kind of an important person in the off-the-grid universe. But these are just theories. We don't really see any of this. Or do we? Because we know that the Zingtanica dimension and off-the-grid dimension are connected. Or is that really the case? What if Zingtanica is just a future version of off-the-grid? It's a wasteland, but then everyone in the world comes to agreements and then starts building this land and gathering all the resources? Might be a little bit far-fetched, but what if Clint is Valor? There are 2 blue Stikbots, and both of them have manly voices. And the other thing that kind of adds up, if you look at Clint's character, he's like pretty... what's the word? I'm just gonna say mean. But Valor is like, you know, a little bit better in that sense. So I'm thinking he adapted his character to become a better person after basically losing everything. Because if you don't know, the character Scion was basically like Clint's best friend, and after they died, Clint was trying to become a better person. So I think after that very moment, that's when his whole character arc changed, and he was trying to end his life with doing something good. But after that, if he actually did survive the explosion, then I think he would have worked on himself, and then when they're rebuilding the world, he became the hero he is as Valor. But how does that make any sense? Because where's all the other off-the-grid characters in Zingtanica? Well, I think Clint time traveled. I think somehow something to do with the monsters in the off-the-grid Nightmare Realm. They captured him, but then they secretly had a time machine because time works different in the Nightmare Realm. So he used that to travel forward in time to Zingtanica. And I think in Zingtanica Season 2, if they use Pixel and Stryker, they're gonna reunite themselves with Valor, and Valor will reveal that he is in fact Clint. And that is how Clint is still alive. He is currently living in the future, in Zingtanica, as the hero Valor. But hey, that's just a theory. A Stikbot theory. I hope you enjoyed my second theory. I've really been enjoying doing these. And thank you so much for the support on the first video. It really means a lot. I'm very excited to do more of these as time goes on. Well, that was my theory, and bye.